no matter how you say it, like a teacher, like a dog, like an artist who got paid a lot of money to paint those 4 words, like a Disney fan or a Batman fan, the fact is, the party's over. And although that stinks, and you're running on empty, the end of the 6 weeks is Friday, and you've got to push hard. So let's get through function notation. You should have gotten a worksheet in class today that number 1 looks like this. If you didn't, pause the video, go back to Moodle and print it off. And the first question is saying, what is the distance when the time is 4? So if I look at the graph on the left, I can see that distance from home in miles is on the y, time in minutes is on the x. So if the time is 4, then my distance would be 3 miles. What is the time when the distance is 1? I'm going to erase these lines now. What is the time when the distance is 1? So when my distance is 1, my time is 2 minutes. What is f of 3? Okay, now remember, when I see f of 3, this means f of x. Okay, so this stands for my x. So I'm going to go over to 3. I'm going to go up and go over. F of 3 would equal 2. Now this is different from when f of x equals 2. What is x if f of x equals 2? Remember, f of x is a fancy saying of y. So if I go to where y is 2, I go over to the function. Go down, x would be 3 minutes. Let's look at that in a different way. Okay, what is x if f of x equals 3? So it's saying if the function ends up, the output is 3, what is the input? Remember, output is y and input is x. So if I want my output to be 3, I go over to the function, the input would have to have been 4. What is f of 7? Okay, f of 7. That right there is my input. If I input 7 into the function, what do I get? So I'm going to come back to my graph. I'm going to go to 7. I'm going to go up to the graph and go over, and I get 6 miles. What is f of 9? Okay, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to figure the rest of these out on your own before you unpause. So the interesting one here is this, what is x if f of x equals 6? Well, if f of x equals 6, that means my output is 6. I'm going over here, and it hits my graph this whole way, from here to here. So any number I input from 6 to 8 is going to give me an output of 6. If I put in 6.2, if I put in 7.8, no matter what, the output is going to be 6. So this looks a little different. I'm given the function f of x equals 3x plus 2. So the first thing I need to do is see what this looks like. So I'm going to plot this graph. It has a beginning point at 2. The slope is 3 over 1. And this would be my function. So if x equals 7, well, okay, if x equals 7, that's right here. And you can see I don't hit my graph until way up here. But remember, there's another way to do this. If x equals 7, couldn't I just plug 7 in there? 3, plug in 7, plus 2. It's going to give me 21 plus 2, which is 23. Okay? If f of x equals 4, well then couldn't I just plug 4 in for f of x? The whole thing, f of x equals 4. So 4 equals 3x plus 2. And if I solve this, I'm going to get x equals 2 over 3. Go ahead and finish this out. Pause. These would be the answers. What method did you use to find your answers? Well, I don't know about you, but I didn't use the graph very much. I actually just plugged and solved. I would like you to pause right now, and I would like you to graph this function. What does it look like if I'm given f of x equals -7? If you graphed a horizontal line across -7, you would be right. So what happens if I want to find out when x equals 3? What does the f of x equal if x equals 3? Well, it's going to be -7. When x equals -3, oh, it's also going to equal -7. I think you can pause and finish this. So why is this no solution? So find x when the function equals 5. So remember, finding x when the function equals 5, the output is 5, output is y. So when output is 5, does it ever hit my function? It never hits my function. So there isn't a solution. What happens when my output is -7? Well, here's my -7. What's my input? My input is all real numbers. So what I'd like you to do on this screen is I'd like you to pause, and I'd like you to work out 6, and then unpause, and see if you get your answers right. So given the equation x equals 2, that would be a line that looks like this. If y equals -2, if y equals -2, x is still 2. If y equals 0, x is still 2. But what if x equals 3? Well, if x equals 3, it won't ever hit that line, so y would be the empty set or no solution. This obviously is a vertical line. Now I'd like you to pause again and do number 7 and come back and see if you got your answers correct. So the first 3 questions, 7a, b, and c, find f of 0. So remember that's the input, so that's the x. So here's where x is 0, it hits at 3. Here's where x is 6, it hits at y equals 0. F of 11 is right here, it hits at 1. Is f of 2. So again, I'm just looking at the input of 2. Is it positive or is it negative? It's positive. For what number's x if f of x equals 0? So the output is 0. So if my output is 0, that would be this line right here. I hit at -3, I hit at 6, and I hit at 10. That's a -3. Okay. Find f of, okay, I think you can find the next 2, so pause. So E was a repeat, duh. But y-intercepts, there's only one, and it's at 0, 3. If I had multiple y-intercepts, I would not have a function. How often does the line y equals 1/2 intersect? Well, it would be a line going here. It'll intersect 3 times. How often does the line y equals 4 intersect? That would be the line up here. That would only be once. So the line of y equals 1/2 intersects 3 times, but the line y equals 4 only intersects once. So I'm going to change this last problem, and I'm going to make it for what numbers is f of x greater than 0. So what numbers is f of x greater than 0? F of x greater than 0. So I know if my output is greater than 0, that would give me the line y equals 0, which would be that line right there. So I want to know, where is my output greater than 0? So my output is greater than 0 along this piece and along this piece. So this is -3 to 6, okay, and 10 forward. So where is my output greater than 0? My output is greater than 0 when x is between -3 and 6, and also when x is between 10 and 11. Now, I want to be greater than 0, so I can't include this. So that left one is going to be -3 to 6, because at -3 and 6, I equal 0 right in there, right? So I can't include those because I equal 0 at 6. I equal 0 right here at 10, so I can't include 10, but I am bigger than 0 at 11. So that would be the answer to that one. Hope you guys have a great night.